I found a USB drive in a public bathroom, and now I wish I had flushed it. I work as a janitor at a bus station in a small town nobody visits on purpose. I've cleaned vomit, blood, and things I can't identify, but last month I found something that made all of that feel like a picnic. It was a USB drive, black, unmarked, wedged between the toilet tank and the wall in the women's restroom on the second floor. I almost threw it away without a second thought. But something made me stop. Maybe it was the way it had been hidden, deliberately, carefully, not dropped by accident but placed there with intention. Maybe it was just curiosity, the same curiosity that has gotten janitors killed in every horror movie ever made. I pocketed it and finished my shift. That night, I plugged it into my old laptop, the one I use for nothing important because it barely functions. The drive contained a single folder. Its name was a date, March 14, 2023. Inside were dozens of video files, named with timestamps, like security footage. I clicked the first one. It was security footage. Grainy, black and white, showing a room I didn't recognize. A basement, maybe. Concrete walls, a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling, a metal chair in the center of the frame. The chair was empty. For the first 3 videos, nothing happened. Just an empty room, static lighting, the occasional flicker of the bulb. Then the 4th video began, and the chair was no longer empty. A woman was sitting in it, tied at the wrists and ankles, her head hanging forward so I couldn't see her face. She was wearing a floral dress. I paused the video and stared at the screen. That dress. My sister had that dress. She bought it for a wedding we attended together 3 years ago. I told myself it was a coincidence. Floral dresses are common. That's what I told myself. I kept watching. The woman in the chair lifted her head, and my entire body went numb. It was my sister. Claire. The sister who had gone missing 6 months ago after leaving her apartment to walk her dog. The sister the police had stopped searching for after the trail went cold. The sister whose face now stared directly into the camera with an expression of pure terror. A man walked into the frame. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a mask that covered everything except his eyes. He knelt beside Claire, gently, almost tenderly, and brushed the hair from her face. Then he spoke. The audio was low quality, but I could make out every word. Your sister will find this eventually. I've been watching her. She's the janitor at the bus station, isn't she? Let's send her a message. He turned to the camera, raised a hand, and waved. Slowly. Playfully. Then the video cut to black. I was hyperventilating. I checked the timestamps. The video was recorded 2 weeks after Claire disappeared. That meant she was alive for at least 2 weeks after she vanished. That meant someone took her, held her, filmed her. And that someone knew about me. He knew where I worked. He had placed the USB drive in my bathroom, in my station, for me to find. I called the police immediately. A detective named Harris came to my apartment, watched the video, and turned pale. He asked me if I knew anyone who might want to hurt my family. I said no. He asked if Claire had enemies. No. He asked if I had ever seen the man in the mask before. Never. He took the USB drive as evidence and told me to stay put while they investigated. That was my second mistake, after picking up the drive in the first place. I didn't stay put. I couldn't. Somewhere on that drive, there might be more. Somewhere, there might be a clue the police would miss. So I did something incredibly stupid. I had already copied the folder onto my laptop before handing over the drive. I spent the next 48 hours watching every second of footage. There were 47 videos in total. Some were short, 30 seconds, just Claire alone in the chair, crying, sleeping, staring at the walls. Others were longer. Much longer. The man in the mask appeared in 18 of them. He never removed the mask. He never used Claire's name. He just talked to her, or at her, in long, rambling monologues about philosophy, about fate, about the nature of fear. He quoted poetry. He recited Bible verses. He spoke like someone who had been alone for a very long time and had forgotten how normal conversations worked. Claire rarely responded. When she did, her voice was hoarse, broken, barely a whisper. She asked for water. She asked to go home. She asked about me. In one video, the man laughed at her and said, "Your sister is closer than you think. She cleans toilets for a living." Imagine that. All that potential, scrubbing filth. Maybe I should bring her here and let her watch. I had to pause the video and throw up in my kitchen sink. My sister was alive in those videos, and I was scrubbing toilets half a mile away, completely oblivious. The last video was different from the rest. The man in the mask sat alone in the chair. He faced the camera directly. He said, "If you're watching this, you found my gift. Congratulations. You're part of the game now." He held up a photograph. It was a photo of me. Taken from outside my apartment window. Taken that morning. I spun around and checked my windows. They were dark. Empty. But he had been there. Hours ago. Maybe minutes. He was watching me watch him. He said, "There's a second drive. It's somewhere in your apartment. Find it before the police do, or Claire dies tonight." The video ended. I tore my apartment apart. I checked every drawer, every closet, under the bed, behind the refrigerator. Nothing. I was sobbing, frantic, dialing Detective Harris with one hand while ripping cushions off the couch with the other. He didn't answer. I left a voicemail, incoherent, probably useless. Then I saw it. My laptop bag. The front pocket. I never used that pocket. Inside was a USB drive, identical to the first one. I plugged it in with shaking hands. There was only one file on this drive. A live stream link. I clicked it, and the screen filled with a real-time video feed. Claire was still in the chair. The man in the mask was behind her, holding a knife to her throat. He looked at the camera and said, "Good girl. You found it. Now here's the deal. You have exactly 1 hour to choose. Either you come to the address I just sent to your email, and you take her place, or I kill her. If you call the police, I kill her. If you tell anyone, I kill her." The clock is ticking. The stream cut off. I checked my email. An address appeared. It was 3 miles from my apartment. I knew the building. An abandoned warehouse near the river. I had walked past it 100 times. My sister had been 3 miles away the entire time. I didn't call the police. I didn't tell anyone. I got in my car and drove. The warehouse was dark, surrounded by rusted chain link fences and overgrown weeds. The front door was unlocked. Inside, I followed a single light bulb, just like the one in the videos, hanging at the end of a long corridor. The room was exactly as it appeared on the footage. Concrete walls. The metal chair. But the chair was empty now. I called out Claire's name. Silence. Then a voice behind me. "You came." I turned around. The man in the mask was standing 10 feet away, the knife still in his hand. He tilted his head and said, "I didn't think you would. Most people don't." I asked where Claire was. He pointed to a door on the far side of the room. "Through there. She's waiting." I walked toward the door. My legs were shaking so badly I could barely stand. I opened the door, and I saw Claire. She was sitting on the floor, dirty, thin, but alive. We ran to each other, collapsed into each other's arms, sobbing. Then she whispered something in my ear. "He's not wearing a mask." I pulled back and looked at her face. Her expression was not relief. It was horror. She was looking at the doorway. I turned around, and the man was standing there, the knife still in his hand, the mask still on his face. Then he removed it. And I understood. The man under the mask was Detective Harris. He smiled. The same smile he had given me in my apartment when he took the first USB drive as evidence. "You should have stayed put," he said. "Now you're both here. Much more convenient for me." He walked toward us slowly, savoring the moment. He explained everything. He had been doing this for years. Abducting women, keeping them, filming them, then releasing a USB drive to someone close to them, leading them on a chase that always ended here, in this warehouse, with both of them together. He said the police department trusted him completely. He said he had been inside my apartment that morning, placing the second drive in my laptop bag while I slept. He said he had been watching me for weeks, ever since Claire disappeared, waiting for the right moment to start the game. He raised the knife and said, "The ending is always the same. 2 bodies. No witnesses. A tragedy." But he had made one mistake. He had underestimated how much I hated scrubbing toilets. When you clean public bathrooms for minimum wage, you learn things. You learn where people hide things. You learn how to read desperation. And you learn that sometimes, the best weapon is the one no one expects. I had brought something with me. A bottle of industrial-grade drain cleaner, the kind we use for the worst clogs. I pulled it from my jacket pocket and sprayed him directly in the face. He screamed. The knife clattered to the floor. Claire grabbed it. I kept spraying until the bottle was empty. Harris was on the ground, clutching his eyes, shrieking. We ran. We called the real police from a gas station 3 miles away. They arrested Harris at the warehouse. They found evidence linking him to 11 other disappearances spanning 15 years. The trial is next month. Claire and I are testifying. The media calls us heroes. Survivors. But I don't feel like a hero. I feel like a woman who got lucky, who happened to pick up a USB drive instead of throwing it in the trash. Claire is living with me now. She doesn't sleep much. Neither do I. We sit up together on the bad nights, watching old movies, not talking about what happened. But we're alive. Both of us. Against all odds. And every time I clean a bathroom at work, I check behind every toilet tank. Just in case. You never know what's waiting there. You never know who's watching. And you never, ever trust a detective who shows up too fast and smiles too wide.